Another one of big tech's greasy tentacles has been dealt a major financial blow recently, Netflix, which most people don't really think of as part of big tech, but you have to remember streaming services are what most people rely on for their entertainment, and controlling the entertainment is a part of controlling the information. But the cable companies, they died, and from the ashes rose the streaming services. And when you stop to consider the very limited number of options that you get with the individual streaming services, and then you consider the fact that so many people are signed up to so many of these at once, and their monthly bill is many times what it was with the cable companies, you have to ask yourself, are we really better off in the streaming services paradigm? But anyway, Netflix, they are losing a tremendous amount of money. We can take a look at their market cap here. Towards the end of last year, right there on October 29th, just before Halloween, was their best day ever, or at least the highest their market cap has ever been, at $305 billion. And now, today, on an Austrian painter's birthday, they are valued only at about $100 billion. So we've got this $200 billion drop-off in market cap just in a few months. And this is almost as big of a drop as we saw earlier in the year with Meta. But for Netflix, I actually think that this is much more severe. So this is, of course, how much it dropped in the course of about 6 months, but just the prior day, you can't quite see it on this chart, but they lost about 50 billion of that market cap valuation in just one day. Not quite a big a drop as it was for Meta, but compared to the size of these companies, it's really bad. Meta, or Facebook, whatever you want to call it, was a $1 trillion company, and then their stock dropped by 26%. So this is almost the same size wound. Granted, it was made over 6 months and not in one day, but it's to a beast that is roughly 1/3 of the size. Now, why is it that Netflix's stock price is plummeting? Well, it's because their subscriber base is plummeting. For the first time in 10 years, they've actually lost subscribers over the whole quarter. About 200,000 were lost this quarter compared to the first quarter of 2021, where they added almost 3 million new subs. And we also have to mention the fact that lockdowns and restrictions around COVID are now much more relaxed than they were the last couple of years. So it's a totally different economy, which obviously Netflix and so many other arms of big tech are not benefiting as much from. People are no longer being forced to stay in their homes for 52 cycles of 2 more weeks. A lot of people, they cracked during that time of lockdown, and they gave their precious shekels to various arms of big tech so that they could entertain themselves. And I salute those of you out there who held firm and resisted big tech's temptations. Now, of course, Netflix, being a public company, they owe it to their investors to try and rebound the stock price and make them much more money. And of course, make more money themselves. I'm sure that there's plenty of executives that want to upgrade their yachts at Netflix. And one of the options that they're looking into is cracking down on password sharing. So they're literally going to do the divide and conquer method. Maybe if they're kicking people off of a shared plan, then that's going to make them each go out and buy their own plan so that they can double, triple, or, well, I don't even know what the limitations are for how many people can share a Netflix plan, but you get the idea. They think this is going to make some moochers pay up and sign up for their own plan. Now, we're going to have to keep an eye on exactly how they implement this. It's something that they've already started rolling out in South America. And it seems like what Netflix does is first they try to associate a home IP address for the account, or possibly they associate it down to the device, probably just whatever device and whatever IP is being used the most to watch it. And if someone then tries signing in from a different location, they're going to get this message where they tell you to create your own account, and they kind of shame you a bit, saying, hey, if you're a different person watching in a different household, you need your own account. Or if you are the account owner, you can get a code emailed or texted to you to confirm that. Because of course, Netflix has to give people a way to watch stuff on their platform when they aren't at home. They want to get as many people on the platform and have them there as much as possible. So they don't want to kick you off if, say, you're traveling and you're in a hotel somewhere. They want you to keep watching Netflix. Now, of course, this is pretty easy to deal with. The account owner, they could just tell you the code. They get it texted to their phone and then they forward it to you, or they forward the email to you. Or if you want to get a little more savvy and automate this process, you could do that. You could automate the forwarding of a text message or an email and then have it get sent to a group chat where everyone who's sharing the account is in it. So this would be pretty easy to defeat. All that you would have to do is click on that message, and then once this automated group chat thing is set up, everybody now has that code, so whoever was getting this can enter it and then bypass it. But it's going to depend on how often they give you this notification, because obviously if they spam it to you, then my circumvention method, it's going to be pretty useless if you have to enter that code every 5 minutes. But I have a feeling they're not really going to do that, because Netflix opting to spam this notification is going to hurt a lot of people that are using the service legitimately, because like I said, it's a little bit tricky to really know for sure if somebody is sharing this account. The best you can pretty much do is figure out if they're signing in from another IP address, but you don't have a static IP at your house. Your IP address is going to change over time, or even if you just unplug your router for 15-20 minutes, chances are the lease for your IP is going to expire and your ISP is going to issue you a new one. And if you have to confirm your Netflix account every single time that this happens, then that's going to be really, really annoying. Same deal if you're traveling. If you go to work and you want to watch Netflix from there, you're going to have a different IP address. Or if you're in a coffee shop, airport, hotel, you're going to have a different IP address. Or maybe you have someone else who's living with you and they like to use a VPN to watch Netflix UK. Well, again, if they're using a VPN, that's a different IP address. They're going to have to enter that code. And all of this annoyance could cause a lot more people who are using Netflix legitimately to cancel their subscription. Another option that Netflix is exploring to try and become more profitable is to have a free version of the service where you would watch some ads. And here we see another opportunity to bypass this to get free Netflix with ad block. Now, of course, ad blockers are pretty simple to use on a PC or even a phone. If you're using Android, there's a bunch of different browsers you can use. On iOS, I think Brave is your only option as far as a browser with ad block built in. But on the TV, this is a bit more tricky. You're probably going to need something like a Pi-hole, which can block ads on the entire network. And since the TV is, of course, a network device, it'll block ads there too. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a Pi-hole. You could run this software really on any spare computer that you have lying around. And that might be a better option, because I know Raspberry Pis, especially the new ones, are still really expensive right now. And that's something that I might actually make a video about, because if this can be used to successfully block Netflix's ads, then this could end up being a way for people to further push against Netflix. Because you have to understand how this company operates. It costs them money to produce streams. The infrastructure that is required for Netflix to work is very expensive to maintain. They have over 17,000 servers that are spread over 158 countries, and they've also forged these good relationships with various ISPs over the year, probably by giving them more money as well. And then we're not even getting into the cost for licensing material, because of course most of what's on Netflix isn't original stuff that they produce themselves. They're buying all sorts of different things, buying the rights to different forms of media, so that costs them money. And basically every single time a Netflix stream is produced, it's costing them fractions of a penny. Well, if you can stream from Netflix without personally giving them any money, whether it's through using a free account with a Pi-hole to block ads, or you're engaging in my favorite form of communism, which is sharing your Netflix password, Either one of those options could help with the further collapse of Netflix, as well as canceling your Netflix account if you're paying for one, and then turning to the ancient tradition of torrenting, where you don't go to Netflix to get a file, you wait until it falls off of the back of a Ukrainian pirate ship, and all of the files are not owned by some capitalist pig corporation. No, they are our files, and we all seed so that others can feed. You can also fight the power by liking and commenting this video, sharing it with your fellow comrades that want to see the vicious beast that is big tech die, and follow my Odyssey channel for tips on torrenting and other videos that are too based for YouTube. Have a great day.